What is better than playing games? Playing games and making money for doing so. We're going to dive into the latest P2E game to hit the market and what it takes to build community during a pretty tough market. Stanley?
Welcome to Go to the Metaverse. I'm excited to have Nick on the show, learn all about P2E gaming, and discuss what does it actually take to be building in these rough times. So without further ado, Nick, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing? You're on mute, buddy. You're still on mute.
Off to a good start. Okay, so the only thing you missed was thank you guys very, very much for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm hoping I can live up to the goat that you got behind you.
We appreciate you having on. So quickly, give it to us. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us about your project. Why should our audience be excited?
It's a really good question. So I'll start with who I am and try to keep it a little bit short. So my name is Nikolas. I came into this wild Web3 world from a senior executive position at Amazon Web Services, where I was managing a $500 million book of business while pretending to do my job, staring at crypto charts and OpenSea all day long, right? I started Hero Galaxy back in December, looking at the whole P2E landscape for the last 10 years as it's cropped up around us. I was feeling like there was a lot of things missing in P2E relative to actual gaming that makes gaming fun, right? Avatars that you can equip, games that are reminiscent and easy for regular gamers to understand, games where the whole entire element of it isn't simply earning, where earning is a happy byproduct of what you're doing, right? Fading Web3 tech and NFTs into the background to create experiences that are like regular games, but with extra bonuses, right? And so the idea behind Hero Galaxy was to look at every single place where there was crypto friction between a regular gamer and actually getting into a play-to-earn game. Removing that crypto friction, right? Managed wallets tied to player accounts, cash to crypto on-ramps, avatars that you can equip very easily and gaslessly, right? Removing all that crypto friction and creating experiences for gamers that are actual games, right? And so started Hero Galaxy in December, looking to accomplish that audacious list of stuff that I just mentioned, right? And started developing our proof of concept in Minecraft. 140 million Minecraft players on Earth. Our thought was, hey, let's bring Minecraft players games they already know and love and add that element of earning so we can ease them into this play-to-earn ecosystem without forcing them to look at NFTs or play-to-earn or earning crypto as part of their on-ramp into it, because the reality is most gamers are distrustful of that at this point. And so it's been a long 4 months, I think, since we minted out in February. And since then, we've built 8 mini games, attracted 15,000 unique players. We're seeing a daily active user count of around 200, and we're about 10% done with our stated roadmap and in the middle of getting started on a second collection to round out our initial collection of heroes before opening the floor to the public, giving regular gamers their first ever NFT for free that they can start kitting out in our game while they're playing it. And that's been the journey so far.
That's awesome. Congrats to you, Nick. So break it down to me in like really elementary basic terms. I see the floor of your NFT currently is about 0.74, I believe. 0.749. I want to give you total credit you deserve.
Thank you, sir.
Which is a great number in this current market. So I buy your NFT right now for 0.749, which back in the day would be a lot of money. Today it is fairly inexpensive.
Yep.
What does it get me? How do I make money?
That's a good question. So obviously utility, right? I mean, that's the focus today. I think that should be the focus today, right? Like, I think gone are the days, especially in a market like this, where NFT projects are able to mint out on a regular basis, offering just aesthetics and community alone, right? And those are things that we have that we're working on. But beyond that, each hero comes with a whole suite of utility, right? It is my belief that in the context of a play-to-earn game, right, early NFT investors are not all going to be gamers or people who are even interested in going and playing and earning, right? And so we opted to include a staking element for heroes should they be interested in supporting what we believe to be the future of gaming without having to actually dedicate a lot of time to the game, right? And so if you hold a hero, you can go into our games and earn a massively stepped up level of rewards. You can also earn artifact NFTs, which are equipable NFTs that you can equip in our armory, part of our site, to actually modify the IPFS reference of your original NFT, updates the rewards and the cosmetic appearance, right? You can stake. If you're staked, you're earning crypto on a regular basis from our player rewards pool, which is funded by player purchases in the game, as well as actually some of our gameplay activity. We have a suite of in-browser games that we're launching, starting with one that's live now called a Rocket Game. All the revenue that those games are generating are going to the player rewards pool. And then if you're staked and you hold a hero, you're earning 4 artifact NFT drops per month. Artifacts being wearables, like I said, and the reasoning behind them, right, is to make sure that we're able to reward our holders without gating the access of the game itself, right? The standard model for play to earn as it exists today in a lot of cases is you've got X number of NFTs. If you own the NFT, you can play the game. If you don't own the NFT, you can rank or be a scholar. And I felt that kind of artificially gating the size of a game was a bad way to get network effect, right? A bad way to onboard actual gamers. And then it becomes an issue of, okay, how are you rewarding early investors if you're not gating access to the games? And for us, those are the artifact NFTs, right? When hero holders are getting artifact NFTs for free on a regular basis and gamers are working to earn them, gamers' intangible value that they place upon an artifact for its in-game effects are converted into tangible value for our holders. And so we drop those artifact NFTs. The more gamers we onboard, demand, right? The more the artifacts are valued, the more the hero holders are profiting. And so as a hero holder, you're getting this suite of utility: artifact drops, crypto rewards, boosted in-game utility, early access to all these in-browser games that we're launching. And basically, my ethos so far has been like, hey, if you give a shit enough about this project to be here so early holding a hero, like, I'm just going to keep figuring out more ways to reward you. And I think that's worked out so far, right? Like everybody's 10x the mint price at this point. Everybody has received at least 2.5 ETH at time of drop worth of free drops. Each hero could expect to earn anywhere from 0.05 to 4 ETH in artifact drops per month, depending upon what rarity of artifacts they're dropped, and working every day to figure out how to reward holders more without pitting them at odds with regular gamers. Yeah.
So Nick, that sounds awesome. Tell us about the game. What is the game? Why do people want to play it outside of the kind of potential rewards that they can get?
That's a really good question. So like I said, we opted to start our proof of concept in Minecraft, right? We felt there was critical mass of regular gamers in Minecraft, 140 million playing right now. And so what we did in the context of the games is we started building games that we felt were going to be reminiscent with those regular gamers. Knowing our holders are rewarded on the basis of the amount of regular gamers we can onboard, we wanted to make sure that we were building things that were the same as what regular Minecraft players are already enjoying in servers like Hypixel or Winecraft today, right? Things that are familiar, where we can fade the crypto benefits into the background and not really have them deal with those things unless they absolutely want to. Having them just act as an extra layer of reward for playing. And so today we've released about 8 mini games that are available in servers like Web2 servers like Hypixel today, places where there's 50,000 DAU. The same or better in a lot of cases. And as we progress, we'll be releasing about 10 more over the next couple of weeks that we've been building in the background. Ultimately aiming to slot all these disparate, disjointed mini games into a fully progression-based RPG. And so that's what we've got going on the Minecraft side. Our belief, again, is, hey, we're able to reward our holders on the basis of the regular gamers that we're able to onboard. And so not all regular gamers are Minecraft players. And as such, we're releasing a suite of in-browser games. We have one live today called a Rocket Game. As we progress, you guys should expect to see a lot more games crop up, kind of like Miniclip, if anybody remembers that. From there, our idea is same as the Minecraft ecosystem. We'll be slotting all those mini games that are just jointed that we create into an ecosystem where we can start telling the story of Hero Galaxy in a little bit more, let's say, engaging of a way, right? Building out the lore, creating a Neopets type of ecosystem in browser. And then I think after that, our duty is to go mobile. And that has been the plan so far.
So
wow.
Congratulations on all that, Nick. And I have a question. I mean, in I guess earlier this year, and I feel it might have been later last year. At this point, I'm confused of where we are in the crypto world. But P2E gaming, 2022 is supposed to be P2E gaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had Axis Infinity. We had a lot of success with that, and obviously there was a downfall that happened. Like, is the future of crypto, of NFTs, of the blockchain technology, do you still believe play to earn gaming is here to stay and it is the absolute future and we haven't scratched the surface? Or do you think we still have a long way to go to figure out what that actually looks like?
That's a really good question. Honestly, my answer is the latter, right? We, including myself, still have a long way to go. And I think part of that is learning from the mistakes of play to earns that have come before us, right? Like, one of the things that was really important to me in the context of like, I bought Bitcoin in 2012 and I minted CryptoKitty in 2017. And I've been watching on the sidelines for a while, seeing why all these play to earn games end up failing, right? And in Axie's case, right, it's purely economics. And I think that that's the reason that a lot of them fail, right? And so it's incumbent upon us to, I think, all of us to continue learning to advance the space, right? Like, I believe the core thesis that participants in an ecosystem, participants in a network who lend the total network its value, right? Social media, Audience versus Spotify. This concept that participants in a network should be rewarded for their participation in the network, lending their time and energy to it. I think that is definitely something that is the future, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me that anybody who is lending their time and attention to the benefit of advertisers and corporations shouldn't be rewarded for that time and attention. That's obviously the future to me, but I think it's incumbent upon us as play to earn showrunners in the interim to figure out a way to make those rewards sustainable, make it workable on a long-term time horizon, right? And so I think the biggest issue facing P2E today is, how do you survive in P2E and how do you create P2Es that aren't wholly dependent on, let's say, Ponzi-nomics, right? Continual onboarding of new people to provide extra liquidity to the folks who are already there. And so for us, that was really important in structuring this artifact economy, right? When you're dumping out a lot of free NFTs on people, it becomes an issue of, okay, well, how do you avoid inflating them into infinity? And so every single drop that we've done of artifacts on a regular basis happened in time with us releasing new deflationary mechanisms in the context of our ecosystem, whereby players can be rewarded for burning their artifacts to get something else. And so I think for our purposes, it's ensuring that we're starting from a baseline of stable economics that don't involve massive upfront rewards to investors that'll ultimately fizzle out, and instead building from the ground up things that are sustainable and things that can last. And so that's what we've tried to do with these artifacts. Behind the scenes, we're working on an ERC20 that is released only to gamers, whose release rate and whose burn rate on transaction is stabilized by an artificial intelligence that we're building, right? Building an AI to act as the Fed to make sure that the token remains stable. Because I think the other thing that's been the downfall of a lot of these P2Es is that investors and gamers, quite frankly, don't belong on the same token. Investors create a lot of downside and upside volatility for gamers that otherwise ruins the gaming experience, as far as people earning things one day that is worth less or more the other day. And so I think, in short, right, it is the future, but it is still an uphill battle to figure out how exactly that future ends up sustainable, such that it is perpetually to the benefit of the people who are participating, not just the early adopters,
Nick, how has things changed in this bear market? I mean, you started in December. It's a different market to where it is today. How do you think that relates to P2E, the future of the industry? We've seen, big economies disappear, and you're talking about making them sustainable. How much does the market play a part in that?
Right. So I think massively, right? Like, I think what we're watching right now is like in 2017, what we watched was a lot of individuals and individual coins and ICOs get washed out because there wasn't much intrinsic value behind them. I think what we're watching right now is institutions making that same mistake and getting washed out as a result, right? I think, in the context of how it affects play to earn gaming, I believe that the broader mission that we're all on here, us, same as what DeFi is doing to banking, same as what Audius will ultimately do to Spotify, I believe that that's still good and solid and is a snowball rolling down a hill to the benefit of end users of any platform, be it a game or a financial platform or whatever it is, right? I think that core thesis is still there, but I think in a bear market, especially one as volatile as this one, the thing that ends up happening is that most of the things where they're built on, let's say, outsized speculative investor interest that ultimately dries up in a bear market won't survive, right? Things with actual utility where they're building for the long term, right? Sounds like a trope, but ends up being true. Those are the things that end up surviving and thriving in a bear market, such that when we come out the other side of this, they're bigger and stronger and receiving valuations that they deserve. But in the interim, right, it is a lot of stuff where it was built on unsustainable Ponzi-nomics or built on a massive amount of speculative investor interest and no real utility, kind of washing out and dying. And that's a regrettable truth. But in my head, I kind of see it as like a necessary and cyclical, obviously, for the folks who've been watching for a long time, cleansing fire of, for lack of a better word, bullshit, so that the space can regrow and rebuild sustainably, learning from the mistakes of the past. No more algo stable coins, things like that.
So you're basically saying all the people that are amateurs, full of shit, wannabes are all going to leave the space. The true builders are going to stay and keep building because the true builders are in for some tough times and they're not probably going to make money, or if they are going to make money, they're not going to make the kind of money people were making, which was almost not real money. But long term, they're going to be okay because it's a cyclical market, and what goes down hopefully comes back up, and eventually the strong will survive. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, the only part where I would correct it is in the beginning. I don't know that it's amateurs getting washed out so much as folks who are greedily profiting from unsustainable economics, right, behind the scenes.
Right, but I mean, it doesn't have to be amateur. It just has to be about, like there's a lot of fun in the space, right? And now you're gonna have like the blue chip NFT projects are having a hard time moving their floors, right?
Right.
Like whoever had maybe some sort of Series 3 or Series 2 they were selling is definitely now going to say, we're not going to go launch that until the market corrects itself. So,
definitely,
it's hurting everybody, right? So, but the people that had kind of no leg to stand on, in my mind, have nothing to stand on, right? Because the investor pool became so much smaller, and those people probably got completely wiped out, and are like, all right, we had our fun. I lost some money. I'm going to go on to my next.
Right. It's this kind of anything where the investment is predicated on a promise of value in the future ends up washed out relative to folks who are delivering actual utility, right? Like I said this a while ago, and I think it's still true. Probably, what survives in this space in the long term, in my head at least, are PFPs who are able to build, successful, sustainable Web 2 brands that are relevant, right? Like Supreme or Bored Apes, or I used to say Azuki, and I'm still waiting for that to play out, right? Speaking as somebody who owned a funk back in the day, I was a little salty about that. So anyway, but web PFPs are able to successfully build Web 2 brands and communities that are strong, tight knit around that. I think that's what survives. And then I think in the context of more utility focused NFTs, like the one that I'm building and the one that I see, a fair number of other folks building, it's the ones where it is a utility driven project that's run like an actual business. And I think that's something that's been sort of missing, and that we'll see crop up more, are the ones where it's run like an actual business. That'll be what survives. And I think in the context of a project like ours, a bear market, I don't want to say good because it's not good for anybody, but it's good in the context of what wins in a bear market are purveyors of consumer-facing dopamine, let's say, right? Entertainment, vice, gaming, and that's what we're building. And in that context, I think that we're in a decent spot, and that the bear market affords us time to build the audacious things we've got planned behind the scenes without dealing with too much, I need delivery now and, win, right? And I think that that's a tailwind for us. But, I think what survives coming out of this are, Web3 brands that are able to create sustainable Web2 brands, and then projects with real utility run like actual businesses. Not to sound like a cynic or anything.
I love that. I love that, and I think to me that makes complete sense. Before we let you go, anything? Where can people find you? Anything else you want to tell us about? Anything you want to promote? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I won't shill too hard because I think anybody who's interested, hopefully I seem like somebody who at least halfway knows what they're doing, and maybe we'll go play. But we do have a mint coming this weekend. Hard to do a mint in this market, right? And so we did it in a pretty unique way. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Humble Bundle, but we made 85% of the mint free. And then if you want to contribute to the project, if you have the capital, we're rewarding you with NFT bonuses, right? I think it's a decent model relative to like a Dutch auction where you're extracting the maximum amount of capital possible from your community via FOMO, or a trad whitelist mint where you're leaving some people out by virtue of the mint price and selection processes. For us, it's kind of like, we wanted to do a free mint, but then that sets the floor at 0+ gas. And so instead we drop mint passes for free onto all of our holders who were staked. And then we said, hey, if you have a mint pass, you can go mint for free. And if you want to contribute to the project, if you do have capital and you want to see me go hire more engineers, which is what I'm doing with it, please contribute. And here are some suite of NFT bonuses that'll be live Saturday and Sunday. And aside from that, really, it's like, I think that the one important thing to convey about Hero Galaxy is that everything we built so far truly is a proof of concept, right? Our plan behind the scenes is to expose all of these services, managed wallets, cash to crypto on-ramps, upgradable NFTs that can be equipped with item NFTs, gasless mints, gasless transactions, all these things as services to the public so that folks can start building in this ecosystem, leveraging the tools that we built. I think, part of what protects economies at scale is scale itself, right? And so a game ecosystem where the volume and liquidity for the token isn't predicated on one single game is, in my opinion, probably what survives here. And that is what we're trying to build by in Q2, Q3, exposing all these services that we built to the public to see what they do, and so, yeah, just thanks again for the time, guys. I really appreciated this interview and love your platform. And so I appreciate you having me on.
We appreciate you coming on, and we appreciate, somebody coming on here that you know what you're talking about. You
like 80% of the way there, right? Like I'll get all the way, and in another year I can come
back. The facade is good, man. I believe it now, and I love what you said as far as like Web2 people building Web3 who are going to be relatable to Web2, right? Because I think that is what survives, right? Because
we missed the Web 2.5 stuff, right?
Mainstream, and now it's not longer about the crypto NFT world, right? It's your kind of like going against the masses. Listen, man, we wish you luck. Keep us updated, and we hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure you subscribe, and tell us what you thought in the comments. Tell us if you agree with what Nick is saying. We wish you lots of luck. Good luck with the mint, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again.